The house at 42 Blackwood Lane didn't just have a history, it had a hunger. Arthur, the previous owner, didn't even have time to scream. He had been reaching under his bed for a fallen slipper when a hand, grey, translucent and cold as a meat locker, shot out and clamped around his wrist. The sound of his radius bones snapping echoed like dry kindling in the silent room. With a violent, wet jerk, Arthur was hauled face first into the floorboards. His chin hit the hardwood with such force his teeth shattered, spraying white enamel across the carpet. Before his brain could process the agony, he was dragged into the absolute blackness beneath the frame. There was a sickening sound of grinding cartilage, a frantic, muffled gurgle, and then silence. The only thing left was a single smeared trail of blood that vanished into the shadows. 3 days later, the house was sold. Sarah and Tom moved in during a torrential downpour, laughing as they hauled boxes through the front door. Their golden retriever, Buster, was the first to sense the rot. Usually a fearless dog, he stopped dead at the threshold of the master bedroom. His hackles rose, and a low, vibrating growl started in his chest. He refused to enter, his eyes fixed on the narrow, dark gap between the bed and the floor. "He's just spooked by the new place," Tom chuckled, patting the dog's head. That night, the house felt abnormally heavy. The air in the bedroom was thick with the smell of stagnant water and copper. As Sarah slept, Buster sat bolt upright at the foot of the bed, his ears twitching. A slow, rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape began beneath the floorboards. It sounded like a jagged bone being dragged across wood. Suddenly, Buster let out a sharp, pained yelp. Something had reached out from the dark and snagged his paw. The dog was yanked off the bed with terrifying strength. Sarah bolted upright, reaching for the bedside lamp, but her hand froze mid-air. In the dim moonlight, a face was sliding out from under the bed. It was a ruin of grey, waterlogged flesh, missing a nose and a lower lip, dominated by a single glowing yellow eye that burned with a predatory light. The creature's jaw unhinged, dropping so low it touched the carpet, revealing rows of needle-like teeth stained with Arthur's blood. "Buster?" Sarah whispered, her voice a thin thread of terror. The creature didn't roar. It tilted its head, and the yellow eye flared. From its jagged throat came a sound that made Sarah's heart stop. It wasn't a growl. It was Arthur's voice, perfectly mimicked, wet and agonizingly slow. "It's cold down here." The creature lunged. Its spindly, translucent fingers, tipped with black, cracked nails, clamped onto Sarah's throat before she could draw breath to scream. She felt the skin on her neck tear as it began to pull her down, her head snapping back against the headboard. Tom stirred beside her, waking just in time to see his wife's terrified face disappearing into the pitch-black void beneath their bed. The yellow eye turned toward him, pulsing with a sick, mocking intelligence. The creature didn't want them to leave. It wanted them to stay, forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more dark and terrifying tales, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. There are many more stories waiting in the shadows. But remember, some places should never be explored, and some stories should never be told. Good night, and sleep well.